thank you very much for your time. I know we are very close, 10 days out, in fact, from fight night. So I know things are exciting now. You're putting in the last bit of hard work, last bit of sparring, I'm sure. Just talk us through what your camp life is like at the moment, what your days are like, how long they are, and just give us a bit of insight into what's happening in the life of Sylvester Chipfumbu.
Uh, my training has been the past few weeks. I think from I'd say 6, 7 weeks out of the fight. It was a tough training camp, man. You know all these guys push Chamba, Demar, Devin, and the rest of the guys. It's just the one year, But now it's 10 days to the fight. I think I'm just tapering down now. It's a time where I need to recover, rest, and focus more on weight cuts and just focus on my mindset, get my mental side right, and just envisioning how I'm going to get to do the fight, how I'm going to win the fight, and so forth. Yeah.
You talk about mental side of the fight. It's the big buzzword in MMA these days. What are the kind of tools that you're using? Are you using visionary tactics, or have you got sort of sports psychology things? Or talk us through how you get your mind ready for fight night.
Uh, for me, I think my mindset gets right with the work that I put in. Like the more I work, the more I train, the better I get physically, the more the better I get in training, sparring, and whatever it is I'm doing. I think that's 75% of my mental part. It energizes my mental mindset, and it just tells me that now I'm ready for this. And obviously, as you get into your training camp, the first few days, training stuff, you're not used to the intensity and everything. You I feel like sometimes I think it's me. This is me. I think like the first days of the training camp, you doubt that you. I'm sure it's been a while since we've been in this kind of training and preparing for fights. So, but as the training camp goes on and on, you get better. Things that make sense, and you're physically conditioned, and I think it just helps me mentally. And then the other part is just me, spending time by myself and envisioning the day of the fight, what I'm gonna go through, how I'm gonna do it from the morning, the afternoon, before the fight, the walk in, the workout, the beginning of the fight, how I intend to finish the fight, and everything that comes with it after the fight.
Okay. You mentioned something quite interesting there, and something I wanted to ask. Obviously, we know about all of this time off, and the media space in MMA. Almost every question is
Yeah.
what's camp life like with COVID, but what's camp life post COVID? That's what I really want to know. Like you mentioned it was strange getting back into a camp. You haven't had to do this kind of stuff in so long. Was it exciting? Was it a bit daunting at first? Say, oh God, I'm gonna have to follow Timber up all of these stairs and back down and then back into the gym to spar. And what was
Yeah.
that like to finally be back in a camp, man? And a title fight camp on top of that.
Yeah. I think being back in a camp, I think it came with nerves, like you nervous because it's been a while. Like almost, I think, over a year before you've been through that kind of intensity. And with the guys that I train with, they don't sugarcoat things, man. If you're messing around, they tell you, like there's no time to beat around the bush. So they tell you to push if you need to push. If they see any holes they tell you have to capitalize, you have to work on this. And yeah, so I think you never getting back into it, like sometimes you ask yourself, do I still have it, or can I still get back? Yeah, can I still get back from this long layoff to getting into a title fight? But yeah, I think it's more mental. But once you like a week or two into it, it's when you realize like you never really lost much. You're still in there. You just needed a bit of intensity in whatever you're doing just to get back into it.
And how hard was it to keep yourself motivated in this, let's say, downtime, where there was no fights on the horizon, there was no word from the EFC about when they would be back or what was the plan. It seemed like international options were blown out the water with travel bans. So how hard was it to keep yourself motivated to wake up in the morning and say, okay, I've got to go put in 2 sessions today, regardless? How difficult was that?
I think for me it was difficult. Like it doesn't matter how motivated you are, but you couldn't go to the gym, like you couldn't interact with other with your training partners. So mostly the things that you had to do were more like on the conditioning side, like maybe running, weightlifting, and obviously technique you do, but it's not as much, like it's like maybe 10% just doing by yourself. So it's a bit tough, and like I don't know, as like I myself, I don't do conditioning every day. So like in during the COVID time, like you can't do like you can't run every day, you can't lift every day. I couldn't do that every day. So like and the uncertainty, you don't know when you're gonna fight again. You don't know if honestly I didn't know I didn't expect EFT to be coming back. I didn't know if they were gonna come back, and obviously you're looking at fighting overseas, but with the travel ban and very few promotions are taking guys from this side for now. So yeah, it was a bit tough, and the future was bleak, honestly. But also on the bright side, it gave us, I think, especially athletes that like take this sport seriously, like you don't realize that there's more to life than just fighting. Sometimes you only realize it at the end of your career what you've missed. But I think it gave us an opportunity to catch up on a lot of things in life.
Sure.
So yeah, on the other side, I'm grateful. Like I learned a lot. I came out of this a changed person in a way. Like I've learned a lot of things outside of my career that I don't think I would have learned if it wasn't for this COVID. I like to look at the bright side of things like that.
Awesome, man. That's a nice thing to hear, because I don't think too many people actually appreciated the downtime, and like you say, I mean, the fighter's life is so hard paced and so fast that you sometimes have to just stop and smell the roses, as they say. You mentioned
Yeah,
your training partners and that. I mean, obviously you're banked up with a team of EFC and MMA veterans and some of the best in the game. Uh, what's that like? Like you say, there's no mincing of words. It's very much get up and go. Um, very, this is the way we are, take it or leave it
yeah.
kind of team. What's it like to have guys like Temba and Demart constantly on your heels, pushing you to be the best version of yourself?
I think it's a great thing, man. Like I feel like most days it's not every day that you're motivated to go in there and put in the work, but sometimes you get to training at 12 and then you see that Tembo Jama, they've done like 2 sessions already, and you train with them after they've had 2 sessions, and someone is outworking you, man, and if it doesn't motivate you, then I feel like you're in the wrong place. You shouldn't be doing that. And someone like Demati hasn't fought in 4 years, and he still doesn't know when he's gonna fight, and he hasn't mentioned anything about fighting, but he still trains like he's gonna fight tomorrow. Temba doesn't know when he's gonna fight. He still trains like he's gonna fight tomorrow. You have guys like Devin, like Junior. You always they're always reliable. You can call them any time of the day. Can I do this with you? Can we do this? Can you help me with this? And they're always there. And I think it's the best part of the guys that we train with. And they also, they don't, like I said, they don't beat around the bush. Like after training, every person, there's no yes say in our gym. Every person could tell anyone, oh, I coach you with this. It's like constructive. It's constructive. Uh, guys trying to correct each other, trying to help each other in whichever way they can. So I think it's a great team.
Fantastic, man. One of the things I want to ask you, Sylvester, before we dive into the fight stuff and credentials and what's coming up, we spoke about Temba, and I mean, obviously, Temba's. I don't want to say been a cheerleader for the last few weeks because he's going to shout at me,
Yeah,
but he's obviously
yeah,
been on backing you up, posting about you, like trying to like obviously use his space to make sure everyone knows who you are. What I want to ask, we've heard Timber's story, and it's one of those great stories in MMA about how he came to be where he is, and it's obviously the core of the story is really inspiring. What I wanted to ask you is just give us a brief overview of how you came to be an MMA star in South Africa. Obviously, honing from Zimbabwe, your hometown. The two of you really flying that flag. Just talk us through how you ended up here and how you ended up in MMA in South Africa. I know you were involved in martial arts in Zimbabwe, and I know you've spoken about taking MMA back to Zimbabwe one day. So I just wanted to see how that all began.
yeah. I started training karate, I think, like when I was 14, 15. I was training karate in gym, and I was just doing it for fun. And then one thing led to another. I got into the national team. I started competing for the country. And then when I finished high school, I moved to South Africa. And I accidentally bumped into Panther or gym where I used to train with Temba, and then we used to train. Like I was looking for a gym to train, and that was the closest gym to where I lived, and that's how I started training MMA. And again, I just trained because I loved it, like not to fight or anything. Then our coach back then, he asked me if I wanted to fight. I just say no, just try, give it a try and see where it goes. He saw something in me, obviously, and started fighting amateur. I became the Cape Fight League champion, and then I got into EFC, and yeah, here we are.
Rest is history, as they say. Talking about EFC, obviously, you're just looking over your bumps in the road. Obviously, Zulu, we know how that fight went down, and then you bounced back, fought a great fight against a very dangerous Tumisang Madiba, and then there was the one-off move to Brave, which was a funny one. I remember when you were here, actually, you sat upstairs where I am now with Temba, and you were quite frustrated at the whole situation with the EFC, like it was a bit of radio silence, and then going on to lose the strange one to Fafa Dwama, and then coming back to cement yourself as a number one contender. Obviously with a hard fought victory over Aziashi Chitambo, who was this viral sensation, and he had all the buzz behind him. Looking back at that sort of time frame, what's it been like, man, going through all of those, like the loss to Zulu, where everyone had a lot to say about the injuries and how devastating he was, then to win one, then to feel a bit like almost left out by the promotion, go to Brave, and then that doesn't go your way, then come back and have the thing with Fafa, and now to be sitting in that seat where you are. What's that whole journey been like for you, man?
I think before the Zulu fight, I've told someone like that was my first loss for an amateur. So I think it was a major turning point for me, because like it's tough, like you won't understand what it feels like if you haven't lost the fight, and like if you see the way I lost it, like there were times when I thought I wasn't gonna fight again, and because of the injury, obviously, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna get back into it. That's when I moved to Joburg, started training with the Martin Timber, and also that fight taught me, like, that, like, I feel like I was a bit one dimensional. I was a bit too early in my pro career. I remember Zulu was coming from competing in the Ultimate Fighter, and he had been champion for quite some time in the EFC. And with all those accolades, and that was my fight number 5 in the EFC, and yeah, people can say whatever they want, but I feel like I did my best, and considering what I knew back then, and I think it was just a major turning point for me. After that, I knew what I had to do. I moved to Joburg. I worked on my game. I became more rounded. I'm sure my last fight can prove is a proof that I feel like I'm a well-rounded fighter now. And yeah, the ups and downs, winning to Madiba, losing in Brave, to Fafa, they were all, I think, learning curves, because I feel like for every fight that I won, I feel like I'm at a point now where I have, in a way, I now have the recipe on how to win. Like a lot of people, they know how to fight. They are great strikers, great grapplers, great whatever. But I feel like I have the recipe on how to win a fight.
Obviously we're beyond all of that, and you've worked your way into that title shot in the EFC against Faiz Jacobs. I remember it was quite strange. It was like pitted between you and Devin Crinier after your wins, and who would get that title shot, and now Devin's your teammate, and you've earned that shot. Talk to us about Faiz Jacobs as an opponent. Obviously, we're not going to ask about game plan stuff, but what do you make of him as an opponent for you?
I think this is the perfect matchup for me. Like I respect what he has done in the EFC and what he's achieved so far. I mean, great striker, he's a brawler, dangerous opponent, and yeah, he started only started competing. I do respect him for that, and I know he's done a lot for this sport, and obviously he's getting hyped. He's UFC ready, and and I don't know, maybe he's marketable and stuff, but yeah, obviously I'm gonna beat him, and after that, I don't know what they're gonna say, because I know they haven't picked, he's he's the people champion, he's this and that, Yeah, it doesn't matter how tough he is, man. Toughness is his biggest strength, and I feel like he feeds off people's insecurities. Like he fought most of them that he's fought before. Like he's beaten them already. Because of his personality and everything. So I feel like it's like a real most of the fights. Once he gets into the fight, he engages with people. They started backing off. They said, "Oh, this guy, he wasn't in it. He was like he's beaten already." But I feel like he's fighting a different type of guy now. I've been through those situations when I've been beaten. I've been knocked down, and I've seen the other side of the spectrum. So champion, no doubt. It's just a matter of how and when which round. But yeah, the outcome is the same, man. After that fight, we're both gonna be 7-3, but the belt will be mine.
Awesome. Sorry, dude. It's just Zoom is telling me that your internet's freaking out a little bit, but it's all good. We're at the end of it anyway, so we'll a couple more questions from me. Just talk us through. Obviously, you're very confident about getting that victory. What does it mean to you to get that belt? For yourself, firstly, for all your trials and tribulations, and all the people close to you that have had to sacrifice, and then secondly to follow in the footsteps of Temba and get that belt for Zimbabwe.
And I think it will be a great achievement for me when I lift the belt. And obviously, man, like the last I think ever since the COVID started, like the way we've trained, I've been training like a champion, and I've been training with champions, and you could see from my performance in the gym, from the mentality inside and outside the gym, I've been just living my life as a champion. So for me, like winning the belt will be a cherry on top. I feel like it's written in the stars, and I am going to be the champion. No doubt about that. And obviously, it means a lot, especially for my people back home. Why? Because I mean, there's how many? There's less than five of us from Zim that are active on the roster in the organization. And if we can have two champions, what more? What do you expect if you have 20 competitors in the organization? We do have the talent, we just don't have the resources yet. Like that's why I feel like we should. It's our responsibility, like me and Temba and the rest of the guys that are in the EFC, to introduce MMA to them because I feel like we have the talent, but we just don't have the resources, and a lot of guys still don't know a thing about it. But you'll see in the years to come. And man, I really appreciate like the guys, the people that I've been living with, the people in my life right now. They've been nothing but supportive. Let me cut corner and say if one of us goes to war, we all go to war. That's how the situation is right now. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm not fighting alone, man. We're in this together.
Fantastic, Sylvester. Thank you, man. I really appreciate your time, buddy. Like I said, I know it's crunch time now, and things are getting nice and crazy. So we wish you all the best for the hardest part of the fight, the weight cut and getting those numbers down, and the last bit. I'm sure there's a bit in store for you for the rest of this week, and wish you all the best for camp, and good luck on fight night, buddy.
Thanks. Thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure. Thanks.
Anytime, dude. We'll catch you soon. Thank you, man.
Sure. Thank you.